The Salvation Army is a church that has a social ministry. We provide social services for the community at large. In my role as the Assistant Divisional Social Services Director, I ensure that those services are in compliance with our national standards, as well as program development and our shelters in the region. We cover the state of Missouri, except for Kansas City, and the southern half of Illinois. So there's a lot of services that we're able to provide for the community: food pantries, meal services, shelters, and transitional housing, as well as permanent housing and even addiction services.
The Salvation Army was started in 1865 by our founder, William Booth, actually over in England. William saw a great need for the least of these, if you will, being rejected in the churches and being rejected for who they were. So William made a way for us to serve those people. He called it soup, soap, and salvation. He believed that you clean them up, you get them fed, and then you lead them to the Lord, and then help them in meeting their needs through the services that the Salvation Army provide. In St. Charles, we've been here since 1958, serving the local community, and we do that in a number of ways. Our feeding program, our food pantry, we also have rental assistance, utility assistance, available to the local community. We also partner with local organizations and other entities around us to help better serve the individuals that come to us for help.
We also have our disaster response. As you may be familiar, there was flooding in 2019 and in 2015 in St. Charles County, and our emergency disaster response has been working with those families even as recently as last May to get them back to stability and recovering from those flood impacts for their families.
To meet human needs in the name of Jesus Christ without discrimination is our mission. And we do that through a number of ways to help people with our programs that we discussed. And we also come alongside them and try to mentor them. Pathway of Hope is one of our big programs that we use in our social service department. And that's based on the premise of you can give a person the fish or you can teach them to fish, and it lasts a lifetime. We help them with how to do resumes, we help them with how to job search, we help them to budget their funding so that they can have long-term sustainability and break that cycle of needing to come to organizations like us for help.
The Salvation Army has a homeless shelter in O'Fallon, and it serves the entire St. Charles County. So we have families who come to us, individual women with children or families who are able to come to our O'Fallon Lodge and stay there. And while they're there, they get meals, they get case management, they get employment assistance, and we help them get reestablished and back into the community. Families that present to us aren't always the traditional homeless. There are people who are chronically homeless, but a lot of families might have mental illness or job loss, and especially in the COVID environment, there has been huge impacts. So we have first-time families who have never experienced a lack that are now finding themselves without homes, without resources. So families are able to stay at the lodge from all across the county, and we make sure they get back to a state of self-sufficiency.
Daily at 2 p.m. we serve a hot meal out our back door that individuals can come and receive that. We have our food pantry that individuals can come to on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2:30 to 4, and they can get a box, what we call fresh meat, frozen meats, and other necessities once a month, but they can come to our food pantry and get fresh produce, bread, and some sweets. Every Tuesday and Thursday they can come once a week for that.
Every city, every county has homeless neighbors. Sometimes they are seen on the corners and sometimes they are unseen. They might be couch surfing. They're transitional. They don't always look like what we imagine them to look like, but all of them have needs and all of them deserve to have services. So a homeless shelter is a homeless solution. It's a response to a need in the community, and people have a right to those services. And so it is all of our responsibility to create a space where our neighbors can get back on their feet, where there are services that we would want being provided in that space without stigma, without judgment, without any discrimination, but coming to them with love and caring and helping them to get where they want to be and where they need to be. We have been working with the Community Council for a while with our emergency shelter and other services, and adding the city to that equation has been of great benefit in responding to the homeless needs in the community. Our homeless neighbors need a little bit more than what we've been able to provide in the past, and so being a part of this movement, this project of providing more shelter beds has been very exciting for us. We've been involved from the beginning in the conceptual stage, and now we're moving along within actual programming and figuring out how many individuals we can serve and what services are going to be needed in an emergency shelter.
Organizations like the Salvation Army, we come to where the need is. That's why we're here. The need was pre-existing. We come in to try and help to meet the needs and then do our best to alleviate the problems that homeless people face, the barriers they have to overcome. And shelter is one of the biggest needs. Just not too far from here, there are clients that come to us that live under the bridge because they don't have shelter. And so for us to be able to give them a place to go every night, it brings them safety. It brings them a safe place to be. So they're not out on the streets. They have places to properly dispose of their litter. They have proper places to bathe. They have proper places to eat, and the things that every human deserves. And we hope that through the shelter, it will help to bring them into a better place in their life.